Hello, Sanibonani ninjani. Yo, injani injabulo or kunjani ukudumala. Last night, the president announced into ebejabulisile abaningi, yabaphula izinhliziyo abaningi. So today we are going to have a conversation about the celebrations that were happening last night. I almost said
situation in Pretoria town now. People are celebrating the sales of alcohol.
like it was like, you know how we celebrate the new year? In most places, it was exactly the same. People were celebrating the announcement. On the 1st of June, we will be able to buy alcohol as South Africans. So that so this is the kind of excitement that was going on ekhaya last night. Hello guys, please let me know where you are watching from so that we have an idea, so that you can tell us what is happening where you are. Hi, it's Tim Skits. Thank you so much. You are always supporting the channel. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And please put a link to your channel so that we can ask people to subscribe to your channel. Yeah, so guys, I'm going to put a link. Hi, Nonhlanhla, hello. Because this is not my conversation. This is not me. It's not about what I am saying. It is our conversation. So I have put a link. Please do click on the link and come and join me. And let us talk about alcohol and whether we are ready. Hello from Cape Town. Hello. Sbu from Joburg. It's Chilinyana. Did people celebrate last night? Good morning, Zwane. I don't know whether it's good morning because of where you are or it's good morning because you just got up, because during lockdown, a lot of us are just getting up when we get up, and it's morning when we get up. Yeah, guys, I have just put a link. Please do join me, because this is not about me. I do not want to say my opinions, but I want to hear your opinions. The links are here. If you press the link, you will be able to join me. Oh, Clement, one of my very good friends and fellow love technician who fly motion is from Clement. So respect to everyone from Clement. You have some amazing talent, Clement. Hey, Becca. Oh, Sasolbeck, how are you doing? Oh, hello. I miss home so much. Uzinhle chilibe bazobuvala lobo tshwala. Bazokushaya abantu baseStenga Nkosi yami, abantu bomiwe guys, abantu bomiwe. Yes, we have Andy coming to join us. Andy, how are you? Hello. Hello there, Tobani Mayville. And hello, Stembi Solungsani, Free State. We have lost Andy. So guys, please do press the link, come and join me. If ubuso, it's fine. You cannot, you don't have to show us your face if ubuso. Just join me and tell us your opinion. Do you think as a country we are ready? Do you think they should have closed Utwala in the first place or left it open? Do you think they should have waited for level 1 before Bavale? Do you think people should be trusted to be old enough and responsible? Do you think it's gonna perpetuate the spread, whatever you think, please, I need your opinion. What do you think? What do you think? Hello, Newlands. Newlands is my neighbor. Mina ngwakwa Mashu. Zinhle.
Hey,
How
Thenjiwe.
are you?
Ngiyaphila njani?
Ngiyaphila sithandwa sami. Kunjani lapha eStang?
Ngabhore, it's hectic. Hawu, ngaze ngajabula.
Ngiselebrate-ile nani izolo when upresident announcer ukuthi utshwala sebuzovula.
Mina, I was shocked. Wow.
Yay! Hi guys. Let us hear from Uzini, and then we'll move on and we will all sisha ama-opinions zethu. Wena Zindlu uthini ngale ndaba?
Mina engingakusho nje manje anginayo inkinga yokuthi ngavula utshwala, kodwa ngiyazi ukuthi manje ey'bhedlela sekuzoba nenkinga because abantu abaningi bazolimazana for utshwala.
Eish. That's a very valid point. Let us hope ukuthi abantu bazoba responsible enough. Simtho, unjani and where are you from? Simtho. Hawu, wasamluza uSimtho, asize kuwena kuhle. Unjani kuhle? Hello? You need to unmute your mic, please. Asikuzwa, your mic is on mute and I mute wanga, I mean. But there we are. Yebo. Unjani? You muted your mic again. Awuthi ngibe ngingenisa uThuso. Thuso, unjani?
Phila unjani sisi?
Ngiyaphila.
Phila nami.
Yebo, ngiyabona ngathi usemsebenzini nje namhlanje.
Yebo, ngihlezi ngisemsebenzini.
Hey, essential worker. Uyajabula ubala imali dad.
Yebo.
Uthini wena ngalento yotshwala?
Mina ngalolu daba lika-President Thenjiwe lokuthi avulele utshwala, hhayi cha, angivumelani nabo kakhulu ngabe abantu okwamanje nje yazi mase baphuzile abayibambi ilayini. Okusho ukuthi nje leli disease leli lizospreadeka kakhulu, wonke umuntu-ke sozolithola ngabo. Umuntu makadakiwe akakwazi ukulicontrol, ukwazi ukungena naphakathi kwabantu, then lizobe selitheleka kuwo.
Don't you trust ukuthi people are grown up because you cannot drink if you are under, I think, 18 or 21, I'm not sure in South Africa. Don't you think abantu bazoba responsible?
Cha ngeke, ama-2000 kakhulu cha ngeke abambeke.
What about amabhizinisi lawa asezothola imali again abeluza imali throughout the non-sale of alcohol, uthini ngabo?
Yebo, amabhizinisi wona azoyithola imali kodwa abantu bona bazolithola igciwane. Ngabe angithi amabhizinisi okwamanje azobe ageyina, then abantu bona-ke bazoyeka. Umuntu makaphuzile nje cha, akalandeli ilayini. Ngabe uma sekadakiwe nje uzobe seyazilandela yakhe. Hayi Zinhle.
Sengikushiye wedwa Shem, sorry as my internet kicked me out. I don't know what happened there. I am sorry. We've got more people waiting. Let's get Elvis in. Elvis, unjani?
Sawubona. Ngiyaphila
Yeah,
kunjani?
ngiyaphila. Wasembhedeni emini kangaka?
Lockdown, sivalelwe.
Asibalo ukuthi silala masilala sivuka masivuka.
Asazi kosa senzeni noma kusemini noma kusebusuku kuyafana.
Yeah. Uthini wena ngale ndaba yotshwala? Are we ready?
Utshwala ngiyacabanga ukuthi si-ready ngabantu base South Africa for utshwala mara kodwa inkinga nase baphuzela ekhaya. Sike sabona isikhathi esiningi udlame elwenzeka abantu bephuzile luningi kakhulu emakhaya. Manje uma ethi uhulumende abantu abaphuzele ekhaya ngicabanga ukuthi kuzonyuka izinga lodlame lwasemakhaya. Bekungcono uma ngabe mhlambe baphuzela le abuye ubaba sekazolala kubangconywana kodwa ukuthi aphuzele ekhaya kuzoba nzimanyana kakhulu.
Angithi bathi bazohluleka ukwenza social distancing if baphuzela endaweni lezi zokuphuza. So basafer umuntu ephuzela yedwa ekhaya and be responsible.
Funa sicace ukuthi funa South Africa sicace ukuthi yinto esiyisave kakhulu. Okubalekile kakhulu abantwana bethu funa baphephe nabo namakhosikazi ethu funa phephe. Uma ngabe boba bazophuzela ekhaya ngicabanga ukuthi udlame lwasemakhaya luzokwanda kakhulu. Kanjalo asenzanga mehluko nje. So gcina sesiba nengane ezibalekazi yodlala ema-police station ngendaba obaba sekaphuzile. Siyazi ukuthi kwenzekalani emakhaya uma bobaba baphuzile.
Yani.
Ngiyacabanga ukuthi ugovernment uma enze njalo akaqabangelanga imindeni, ucabangele kuphela laba abadinga utshwala bomile. Azange aqabangele imindeni. Kunamakhaya amanye.
Angithi ama-businesses are losing money. So much so that some of our breweries have had to get rid of utshwala because they say we reach our expiry dates and bakhala ngokuthi that's a lot of money. So sithini ngabe?
Asithi siyidla imali sibe siphephile nemindeni yethu iphephile nelikusasa labantwana bethu libe li-right. Singadli imali abantu bethu bekhala ni.
Hayi siyezwa awuthi sifake awuthi ngizwe wena Zinhle ukuthi uthini la? Zinhle, please unmute yourself and tell us ukuthi uthini wena ngalento.
Ngiyamuzwa ubhuti Elvis ukuthi uthini ukuthi asithi sidle imali sibe sicabangela iy'ngane zethu because yabona nje njengoba ethe uRamaphosa utshwala abuphuze by next kuzobe kune-fight everywhere because bazobe bephuzele ekhaya kodwa engikwazi ukuthi mina kunabaqashile uma beke baphuza Thenjiwe angilali ngalelo langa ubukipikayani
Yani
yabona
awuthi ukuthi ubuye uzukise ungene kuqala ngicela uzukise uthini ngale ndaba.
Hayi mina ngicabanga ukuthi abantu ba-friendly mase bephuzile and lento we-social distancing ngeke isasebenza abantu mase bemnandi bazothintana nje isimanga into ongayazi uyibone and then sizogcina sesitheleleka ngaleyo ndlela izospreada kakhulu. I think isheshe
umuntu uphuzele ekhaya
uphuzele ekhaya kodwa uphuzele ekhaya kodwa phela mase busegazini uzophuma izokunikeza uzoba brave uzoba nesibindi inkinga ileyo.
Manje abantu bomile people sebeyakhala manje ukuthi sebeyaluza amaphuza face abo kanti basebenza kanzima ukuthi bawathole. Manje mase bephelelwa
abalinde impilo yabo ibaluleke kabi utshwala abuyi indawo buzobe bukhona nje nango-December abalinde.
Mewuthi lento ithatha 5 years.
Ayikho inkinga ngeke bafa utshwala bukaze babulala muntu.
Maye benze njani labo ukuthi mase bephuzile baba friendly babe romantic?
We hayi inkinga ke leyo.
Ake siza ukuthi usisibone uthini. Unjani mfethu? Unjani Sibusiso?
Chef kunjani Thenjiwe?
Yes, ngiyaphila. Yeah, ake siza ukuthi wena uthini ngale ndaba.
Hayi mina ngithi abantu shem yazini somile shem yazini. Ku-right bavule sike sithi kancane mara ke angithi futhi into emnandi ukuthi manje sesibambile ukuthi hayi kose siphumule siphuzele ekhaya singasolo siya kuphi nakuphi so savele sithenge sibuye sihlale endlini zethu la siceda naso sezikushayile uyalala awusolo ubhizi up and down.
Awuphuzela ukulala kanti awuphuzeli nokuthi ube mnandi drive ugroove.
Angithi naso sewumnandi bese uyalala awuhluphi umuntu awujikisani namuntu so ku-right.
Awusabi ukuthi some of us are gonna use lama 350 fine ngabe sithenga ngawo ama-food parcels and things to keep us going ukuthi sowaspend otshaleni.
Bafethu abantu bomile asikhulumeni iqiniso yazi that's why udlame selungaka because abantu bomile nangathola nje kancane nje uzoba right so ke nje hayi asivuleni vele kube right.
Uyasithemba ukuthi sizobehave. Do you trust us ukuthi sizobehave?
Kona kunzima mara nje sizothini i-reality njalo nje dala mfethu kunini silindile.
I guess sibingelele uSabelo, welcome, thank you very much for joining us. Uthini wena ngalolu daba?
Ayi cha mina uyazi sithenjiwe angicabanga ukuthi lento yotshwala le izosiza entweni eziningi. Yeah, it's because yeah, hello?
Manje somile nje.
Hey, angithi phela nazi igroup zikhona abantu bayayiphuza. Kumanje iphuza sona. Okay. Khona ibhuti bese kakhulumile ukuthi abantu abaningi uma ngabe baphuza utshwala baba nodlame emakhaya. So I don't think ukuthi kuphephile for abazali nezingane ukuthi bangaphuza phambi kwazi ingane nayo umfazi abhekile. Yes.
In our country,
because ezinye ingane vele
domestic abuse ekufanele si-address because it seems like abantu abaningi
ngoba nakokunye futhi
domestic abuse more than ezinye izinto.
Yes, ngoba nakokunye ingane zesikole ziyavula manje so the parent uyobaphuza nje phambi kwayo lengane lena so angiboni ukuthi that thing into esingayixoxozela as a country but into kumele siyilwise instead of ukuthi kuvula amasonto kuvula utshwala.
But bathiwa abantu bazothenga nje bazo-maintain i-social distancing umuntu athenge ahambe ayophuza ekhaya.
Abayi-maintain social uyophuza ekhaya makafika ekhaya mangabe sebumbambile uzoba inkinga ekhaya.
Awuthi ngizwe uprofessor ukuthi sawubona professor.
Siphilile mama.
Yebo. Uthini wena professor ngalolu daba?
Uyangizwa?
Yebo ngiyakuzwa kahle kakhulu.
Mina ngithi nakuhle nawungizwa kuhle ngithi mina le ndaba yotshwala le umongameli siyamuzwa ukuthi uthi uzovula mara asinalo ithema ngoba lo mama lo ophethe le ndaba zotshwala uzothi nafika avelasha athi angivuli isidalwa nje so sebayathi ukuthi utshwala buvulwe ene umuntu naseyathengile utshwala nakafika endlini nase bumbambile njengobhuti bekasathi uyokuforce ukuthi abize abanye abantu bazohlalisana baphuze bonke.
Yeah, and ingane eziningi zenziwa mengabe sekuphuziwe. But don't we trust
balekele ukuthi ivule utshwala it's not ready but ngenxa isimo esikiso abungavulwa ngoba sifuna ukuthi siluze impilo lezi esinazo.
What if utshwala ibona obusizo othisha ukuthi bakwazi
ukubhekana nezingane esikoleni? Yeah, so that's okay.
Hey inzima le ndaba. Uthini Sibu? Senza njani lento? Unmute your mic please Sibu.
Oh, sorry. I think as a country sesikhulile manje 60 days bebastrain abasifaka endleleni. Mbula baqale ukuthi bavule ikhadi, like there was a specific time where kuvulwa khona and then kungavalwa. So I think manje sesijwayele and kuzo operate kanjani. So going forward it's going to be better because namanje it's not ukuthi kuzoya le ebumnandini kakhulu la kugcwele khona abantu, but uyathenga and then you go home. And then as a responsible individual, obviously we need to make it upon ourselves ukuthi uzohamba ukuphuza into yakho and then ishaye iphele kanjani. That's basically my view. So I don't think ukuthi kufanele bafihle abantu. So fanele nje kuqhutshekwe impela.
Sambela nawe uyavuma ukuthi buvula utshwala noma siyiqhubekele nje siphuze amanzi ethu?
Hayi. Okay, yes, ngiyamuzwa Sibu uthi as a responsible individual ne kumele wena uthathe umthetho ezandleni zakho. But bakhona abantu abahlulwa utshwala la ngaphandle. Baningi futhi siyayazi lento leyo as a country. Baningi abantu abahlulwa utshwala baba nodlami bayenzeni umuntu nje la suka khona makafika endlini afika agodloza umnyango ahlupha ingane avusa umama nezingane balele. So if sekasendlini manje if lento iqala sendlini uyothiwa le ndaba. I think ama cases amaningi of abuse azokhuphuka since kunje ngokubona kwami.
Nesibindi bangena emotweni, do you think mhlambe azo affectela ama accident ey'motweni because ayibhedlela bathi it's been very low, almost zero car accidents and lezi zinto zabantu asebeshayiwe nani nani. Kodwa phela mhlambe futhi abantu sebefundile.
Yeah.
Mhlambe fanele sibatheste abantu kusibuza abantu ohlala nabo endlini ukuthi is it safe ukuthi lo muntu aphuze utshwala or akukho safe?
I think ukuthi bababuze once.
Umthokozisi Ndumo uthi akeze unkosazana Dlamini Zuma azokwenza ama corrections. Do you think umama uzoza azokwenza ama corrections athi ayikho leyo nto, mina ngithe utshwala ku level 1 not level 3?
Usesenokukwenza lokho kulula. It's so easy.
Why would you feel uma ngasekwenze lokho?
Hayi. Nami ngiyabona possible.
Bathi ufana no Dr. Malinga professor.
It's
a compliment. It doesn't come from a bad
Sorry?
It's a compliment. It does not come from a bad place. It comes from a place of love.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, izoba inkinga lento ye alcohol. How do I get in? I will just post the link again. The link that I have just posted, you use it to get in. Please do come and join us and tell us. And I've been seeing people so beautiful. Yes, I'm a face and people have saved a lot of money.
True.
Do you think the day bavula it's gonna be a rush njengo Black Friday abantu badudulane bayothenga utshwala? As a black person, will you be embarrassed masubona abantu bakithi benza njalo, or will you be like, yes, free at last, now we can buy alcohol? Professor, because everyone has left the room. Everyone has left me. I think there's a memo engayitholanga mhlambe sekuvuliwe already. Imina engingabonanga. Professor is coming back. Please do forgive us, guys. Iyahluphi internet.
Yes. Iphuwa even nala ngikhona.
Iphuwa yonke indawo because it's experiencing ukusetshenziswa kakhulu sibaningi siyayisebenzisa at the same time. So how do you think people are gonna act on the day kuvulwa bazodushana njenge Black Friday? And if they do, how would you feel as a black person seeing abantu bakithi benza njalo?
Ngizozizwa kabuhlungu. And secondly, what I will say ukuthi ukuvulelwa kotshwala ayisisi sombululo. Ngoba ukuvulelwa kotshwala bonke abantu bazotheleleka. Nangabe kunomuntu othelelekile ngale ngogwana lesinayo and then bonke abakhona lapho bazotheleleka. So asibalekeleni ukuthi ngingavulwa. We know ukuthi kunzima kulabo abasilayo, but njengoba sisibheke sinena lesimo asizameni ngawo wonke amandla ukuthi siyilwise.
Yeah, ne? Uthi uzamo Misi, hello Zamo. I don't think abantu bazoziphatha kahle where alcohol is concerned. They are too excited and hell will break loose. Abuses will be on a high. And
Yes, ngiyavuma lapho.
And do you remember how when this thing was first announced, we're going on a lockdown, how people were buying sanitizers, especially, and toilet paper? I think we're going to have that rush when it comes to utshwala. Abantu bazothenga ngazo ukuthi kuthiwa ngephinde kube khona emhlabeni.
Yes. So that's the case ukuthi utshwala buzothengwa manje and then bobuselele endlini and then umuntu nase bumbambile lo tshwala and then kuyokwenzakalani ngaye ngoba automatically kuyoqala abuse endlini. It's simple and if you can check ama confirmed case we rape a high manje.
There's also
there's
a lot of cases I'm getting of incest. Abantu abalala nabodwa ezindlini because they are not able to go bayothola ihlofhlofu kubantu babo ngaphandle. Bathi ayilidli ipapa endlini. Umthokozisi Ndumo uthi kuzogcwala ezitolo zotshwala kuphinde kukhula ama cases only if they will manage ukuthengwa kotshwala. Maybe they should do it kuthengwe and be delivered. I don't know. But not everyone lives in a place where it's easy to deliver, so it will favor only a few.
Yes.
Phansi ngotshwala.
Ngiyavuma naye lo phansi ngotshwala. Utshwala isisi sombululo manje buthini.
Uzuma uthini, it is possible to make your point across without insulting the other person. Yes, abantu abayeke unkosazana Zuma Dlamini, unkosazana Dlamini Zuma, please. That's a very good point. But fortunately here we haven't insulted her because people were saying they wanted to come and stop it because bona ba against ukuthi buvula utshwala.
My view is different.
Yes,
because see, I think it's kulile man as a country or majority of Tina South Africans is kulile. And we need to give each other that benefit of the doubt. That is why I think it's gonna be what, but I think they're still gonna assess or monitor how are people behaving on the day, maybe or the first 2 weeks after okay, so, and I've seen, I'm not is it true or what, but then I think also the companies they by all means to try and stop its spread by creating those lines. Okay, you need to be a meter, and I think only a certain number of people bazongena will be allowed, and then there'll be a maximum bazolithenga. So I think all those steps is zizo zama not good in kulmela abantu abaphuzayo. But I think abantu, honestly speaking, abantu bomile kunzima. So and sometimes now womega khulu bese kuba nalolo laga lolo. So I think people should be given that into yabo kancane just ukuthi behlise izinto zabo or behlise lento abayizwa ngaphakathi. Yes, I understand ama cases enzeke emakhaya lokho kubhlungu kakhulu. But I think we should just give abantu, and then this will also boost our own economy. That's the other side we need to also consider as a country. And I think that's why our president and the team, they are really under a whole lot of pressure because there's a whole lot of things that they need to consider. Is how do we revive our own economy? Obviously, abantu buy pools and there's more money that is being spent on alcohol. And if there's money spent, then the economy here to be active. Right now, there's a whole lot of money or a search in this way to patalala material 350 rand. Leo Malay must come from somewhere else. If, for example, the Labanda Bateng Saujala, they don't pay taxes. If ever there's no income, they're not going to pay no taxes. If they don't pay no taxes, there's no money going into the government. If there's no money going into the government, you know that whole story. Going back to the economy, yeah.
I agree with you. We need to get back to the economy. Then Umfundisi will say, Nami, I contribute to the economy when people come to church. Umuntu on a retail shop, uzothi nami, I contribute to the economy when people come and buy clothes in my shop. why mina kusavaliwe kumina.
Sorry?
So what do you say to them?
Yeah, that's a tricky one. Simply because, especially looking at churches, I think one of the biggest challenge when it comes to churches is kuhlanganwa in one place where majority of people meet in that specific area. Unlike if ever like things are utwala, maybe that's why they don't even allow taverns right now utavulwe. But the retailers like as things you can go and buy. You go in, you buy, and then you leave. I think it's a bit of a challenge, and it's a tricky one because now mostly if you look at churches, there's a whole lot of numbers yabantu abaya in that specific area, and the challenge is that if ever one of those individuals are infected, they are most likely to pass it to the other person. It's a maybe that's why I don't even know how they're gonna address that one. Nami, I am blank on that. That is why I think maybe they're trying to promote the electronic or digital way of doing things. But I know not all churches are already on that level. So Guba and Ginga, because they still do like face-to-face and things like that. So it's a bit tricky, honestly. But yeah, but bit by bit, I think by hopefully soon, so they say once it spread, it's not a lot. Then they say, but okay, as vuleni, but then let's maybe maximum 500 people, because there's bigger churches where there's more than 5,000 people in one service. So yeah, that one is a little bit tricky.
I guess is Professor Gututini, in the meantime, because the numbers are growing. The numbers are away. They are expecting numbers to grow. But ready for numbers to go up. Unjani Sbu? Sibusiso? Okay, Professor uzostraina ngendlela uSibusiso.
Mina, what I will say ukuthi into bengisayichazile ukuthi i-rape, number of rape, it's going high, and then manje singanayo alcohol, and then tell me ukuthi if alcohol is allowed, and then kuyokwenzakalani lezi ndlini la singaboni khona, kuyokwenzakalani abantwana abarejiwe as we are talking today bayingakhi ama-confirmed case. So a point of alcohol, we know ukuthi alcohol it helps us with the economic growth, but okwamanje crisis form of esigiyo okwamanje, we cannot allow it ukuthi ivulwe on my side.
Ngicela ukufunda futhi again this message from Ulo Khuzani, this comment from Usanele Zuma. It is possible to make your point across without insulting the other person. Yes, abantu abayeka unkosazana Dlamini Zuma. I think this is very important. Ukuthi we must respect even us on this group. Let us respect each other. Siwasho nje without being offensive to the other person. Ngicela ukufunda ilokhuzana yanduduzo Faraja Jali uthi unduduzo khumbula ukuthi the alcohol tax is dependent on the bottled alcohol. So utshwala budayiswa SAB is not liable to pay tax ngoba they are taxed for bottled alcohol. So kuyinkinga ukuthi kuzovulwa to a certain extent, kodwa it's necessary to sustain the economy. So kuzoba nama restrictions amaningi wafana nesikhathi sokuthenga utshwala. I'm not anginayo knowledge ephelele ngendaba zama-tax otshwala, but thank you so much Nduduzo. It's something to think about. Sibusiso usungenile?
Sesithenjiwe kunjani?
Ngiyaphila unjani?
Ngiyaphila sisana. Mina kwelami side angiboni nje kungibono lomuhle ukuthi bavule kusitshwala babuthengise ebantwini. Ngoba abanye batawuthenga lo tshwala bofanathe endlini. Athi uma sadzakiwe adrive aphume futhi abuyele lesitolo lena yabona. Angafika lena athole mhlambe kune queue or kunalabo ababhisi babasanitizer or bendana eminyango ama security afika abalwisa afuna ngena ngenkani. And uma suka lapho utawuhamba futhi ayithi indzaweni takhe nini so driver so ufuna ukubona info yakhe kuphi ekutheni. Akana permit akana lutho yakubona. Abuye endlini ke atofika laba sendlini laba innocent abafele leso leso. So
what if amaphoyisa nawo ayakhala ukuthi awasathola ama-bribe ngoba abantu abasaphuzi and drink and drive? Phela nabo bayawafuna la ma-bribe. Ungabacabangeli bona.
ngoba esikhathini esiningi wathola abaningi bahlele emgwaqeni yakubona. So angicabanga ukuthi bangayithatha leyo intshontsho noma mhlawumbe ama-2015.
Hey, this is a big issue. Uthi umanzi Isnam, there's always a possibility to revert to level 5 if people misbehave because of the availability of alcohol. Do you see us going back to level 5 if people misbehaving because of alcohol?
That's good. Yeah, I think if it's not misbehave, sorry man, there's two species, so I'm not sure which you show me now or the other one. But anyway, so I think that is why my previous pointing to say, I think they're still going to assess. Once Bazovula, yes, they'll come the first. Maybe the first 2 weeks, there's going to be really a task team as of to see how is the situation is. If I want to, obviously, I think that's given. Just like in any other business, if things are not doing expected, which is the end, you change. So we are most like, why should we misbehave the first week, second week? Definitely, I foresee another family meeting whereby the father of the country calls us and say, okay, guys, we nani niabona. So I'm not even going to entertain anything. We're going back. So I think that's why I'm stressing the point of Tina. We need to be responsible citizens. That is why no. Our president even say, guys, now it's the ball is in your court. So now it's all up to Niaz Guti. There is the virus that exists. Niaz Guti abantu by Afa because if they misbehave or if ever they are exposed or if things like that. So with the information, remember knowledge is power. So now information. So it's all up to you. If you decide good when we're still gonna do whatever that you wanna do. Guess what? We're most likely to go back to level 5 or version 5. I'm not sure. Yeah, something like that. That's my take.
I am back. Sorry guys, Uguti, I left, but I am back. My internet was giving me some problems. Sorry, Nkosi yami Sibusiso, sengikushiywe with Professor is back. Hey guys, inzima lento. And it's affecting everyone. It's not just into a certain class of people. While we wait for Professor to rejoin, anibuke nje Nkosi yami ukuthi ama-slave enza kanjani.
Mama into iphethe?
Phethe fruit.
I-fruit?
Yeah.
Imake manje uthobana abaphuza i-fruit manje?
La mantombazana afaka igesto kani ngokarapho baphuza le manje.
Sebephuza le manje.
Bayashukuza bathi cha bafaka ukujek mama. Ngicela ukarapho zithi lwele zabo bathi. Bolka
Yeah, guys. So things have been bad. Things have been bad, Professor. Okarabo manje yabona sekuphele ukuba ma-slay queen baphuza ngama-2 liters. Senze njani le ndaba? We don't want our slay queens to be thirsty. I will put the link again. You just press on the link at the uyifaka wela cost. And then you can join us from that link. Zinhle is back. Zinhle is back.
Yebo, sekubuyile ngiyaxolisa.
you think Champagne, because we are more concerned about how people are going to behave, Magvula, and also their transfer? Maybe if they distribute food parcels, got alcohol parcels, ukuthi enziwe mhlamba amakhansela, and then they deliver in people's homes. Mhlawumbe lokho kungasiza. Instead of people ukuthi baye endaweni bezidayisa alcohol to go and buy.
Mina sisi ngiyabona nje njoba
yes. Uthini Zinhle?
angiboni nami kuwumbono omuhle cause mina njengoba ngikwilembe izolo upresident uze umenshile ilembe wathi ama-hotspots ilembe cause ngi-stress by next week umntanami esikoleni ngendlela engi-stress ngayo njengoba noSihlezi Kalala cause uSihlezi Kalala uke wakhuluma wathi ilembe ilona eli-highest kakhulu so number 2 emva kwethe. So nje ngi-stress ngale ndlela le ukuthi nje ngathi kuvule kutshwala cause abanye bayayivimba iy'ngane zethu maziye esikoleni mase bephuzile. Uthole ukuthi ingane siyakhala mawubani ade engibamba uyabo nje kuba nalezo zinto lezo ukuthi yabo ngi-confuse kwamanje ngisastressekile akazi ukuthi ngizokwenza njani for utshwala akunankinga nabo ungavula kodwa nje ey'nganeni zethu cause ilembe elihamba phambili.
Yeah, ne? Professor mina ngithi asinikwa ama-alcohol parcel.
Kuyabanga
abawatholile ama-parcel.
Ngibhekele nda
Awuthi ngizwe Umncwabe uthi I don't think we'll go back to level 5 due to economic challenges. Look, the numbers are growing, but the government is opening up the country more because of economic pressure. Ochwepheshe bathi vaccine is likely to come in 2 years, in 2 years' time or later. So ngeke kuze kuvalwe that long. It's just not possible. It's just not possible ukuvala that long. If we die, we die. Nithini ngalokho if vaccine comes in 2 years, chuthi siyavala for 2 years, chuthi siba thirsty for 2 years, kwenze kanjani?
Now you're thinking, there's about to be busy benza the homemade alcohol brews or what ne beer. So of which most people bashona because sure guys, there's a lot actually. I thank God I'm not a president. Khona abantu like bebenza the homemade beers. And then most people got sick, and then abanye went as far ukuthi baze bashona. Now remember, as the head of state, one of your other responsibilities is to protect the citizens of your country. So now, what's the easiest way to actually protect the citizens is to let them at least buy the air right that has been created the right way, like the siyazi. So I think that's one of the other things that the president looked at and said, good guys, fine, siyabavalela labantu laba asibanikeze le alcohol yabo bayahamba bawozenzela their own alcohol, and then abazenzela their own alcohol bayashona. Once bashona, it's an additional burden to the state as well, because remember everything gets recorded. How many people died? What's the reason of death? And then if ever it's like, for example, it's something that so I always say, if you can give people something banikeze. They just need to be responsible. Remember, at the end of the day, umuntu nomuntu uyasidecidela yonke into ayenzayo ngalesikhathi afuna ukuyenza ngayo. So siyabavalela ukuthi bangatholi utshwala babo, they go and find ways, and worse, they go and break izindawo. Siyazibukela izindawo bebahamba obulala bayobhidliza ama tavern bangene by force. Why? It's all the anger and everything ebanayo because bafuna lento yabo bayifunayo. So what is wise? Give them, but minimize it or limit it. So I think that's the approach that our government is doing. So now I fully support that for the sake of the people, and also just to make sure Guti Bantu Baba Shop. Yes, there is unintended consequences ukuthi I understand and ezinzima shem lezi asekhaya, and I really feel for those, especially if ever it's going to be abantu bazo rape lezo like it's very difficult, but majority ukuthi banikeza abantu into yabo babavulela until ngo 6 o'clock shayile, and then uphuza kwakho awusaphumeli ngaphandle, or nawutholakala ngaphandle then you go straight to jail, period, or you bakwenza whatever about this that they deem fit just to khombisa ukuthi guys you don't have to be gallivanting because wena sophuzile, phuza dakwa lala. That's it.
I hear you mfo, ngiyakuzwa lapho.
Oh, sorry. My mic was muted. I was showing you Uyolanda message yakhe. She was agreeing with you lapho Sibusiso ethi and then washona.
Yeah.
Iphi lelo khuzana yakhe. I'm just pinning the comment.
Yeah.
My internet is acting up again, so do please continue nikhulume.
Bafo kusele mina nawe manje.
Khamba uthini mfethu ngalento mfethu, uthini ngale.
Mina ngiyavulalela mfethu, and you'll be shocked angiphuza utshwala ne, but I understand abavumela abantu abaphuzayo baphuze utshwala, because right now kuziningi izinto ezenzakalayo.
Yeah, kona ukuvala kwale. Sure.
Abantu bomile.
Kabi.
And there was an article bengifunda eyelo labazenzela khona yini konje lotshwala
lo faka yini ama pineapple.
Yeah, no, not lo 1818.
Ha 1818.
Yeah, fake 1818.
Yeah.
So ke kunzima mfethu. So or else abantu bazoshona kakhulu ngeke basabulawa i-coronavirus mara bazobulawa ile fake alcohol.
Ngoba baningi abayifunayo mfethu.
Ndoda abantu bomile, that's why umuntu uze ukuthi yazibona ukuthi yazini shem athi ngithole hunters drying ibhodle basho njalo. So ke kuyabonisa ukuthi yazi ukuthini kunzima. So ke mina I'm saying government akabanikeza abantu ukudla kwabo, abantu bazidlela ukudla kwabo, after that abantu mara they have to be responsible. Lelo I'm still stating ukuthi okay, as much as une freedom, but there's also a responsibility that comes with freedom.
Yeah, ibalekile mfethu mina kanjalo because manje abo ama diseases mfethu esiwathatha amasdariwe anzima, but you can't prevent abantu ukuthi bangaphuzi.
Yeah,
because always come ngapha nama strategies azosebenzela ukuze sithole into esifunayo.
Uyayibona, and I've noticed most people bathengisa i24 nge800 rand.
Ijambile mfethu, yabo mina ngiyaphuza mfethu manje indlela ekutholakala ngayo mfethu. Yabo bobhodlela 1818.
Yeah.
Uthola ngo500 mfethu. Ekubeni iship.
Uyayibona indaba.
Sorry guys, I do apologize. My internet acted up. So nganishiya kancane, please do forgive me. Skados, uthini lapho wena? What do you say about this thing? Are we ready as a country?
Yeah. I think kumele ivule to ugwema into eziningi because manje lento leyo ukuthi kungavula bufaka abantu eriskini because abantu bayahamba bebufuna ngenkani. And mebese befuna ngenkani abasanenda ukuthi yini ehlekala kubona, they rather check ama chances ukuze bathole into abayifunayo. But ukubanika access then uba limit into ekumele bazenze iyona option engasebenza than ukuthi uyitshela ukuthi ubavalele kanti ayikho into oyenzayo.
Yo.
So i-right le decision ukuthi abanikwa abantu bakwazi ukuyenza lento lena, but abantu bangabaniki ispace ukuthi bakhululeke kakhulu, because maybe bangakhululeka kakhulu ila khona vele istate sizonyuka. You got no choice, isonyuka because siya ngokwehle ila khona futhi into enza ukuthi khuphuke nendlela yokuthesta isishintshile, ingakho kube ngathi kuyanyuka. So hayi ngoba mhlawumbe isifo sinamandla, ingoba indlela yokuthesta isishintshile. So ngeke ukuthi abantu abayivalele endlini because kunamalokishi la kuyafana bayiphilela strong.
Yo, I think this comment from Unduduzo. Unduduzo is very academic. Uyazazi lezinto. Unduduzo, are you an accountant or a lawyer? Hey, we appreciate you. Facts out. On the 18th, SAB, South African Breweries, had to have a special permit to transport alcohol because already 130 million liters had to be poured out because it's over matured. We are looking at a gain in tax and duties of a total of 9 rand VAT per liter, which is an estimated 1.17 billion rands in revenue being poured down the drain. I will attach links to support the views. So the main priority is economic stimulus. Number 2, askadeni singenze ngathi utshwala ibona bodwa obenza kube nezinkinga. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. And I do agree with you ukuthi utshwala kubona bodwa obunenkinga. Maybe as a country we need therapy.
Ngiyamvumela ubhuti. Kuneqiniso kulento ayishoyo. That's why nami I'm you'll be shocked. I was telling you angiphuza utshwala, but I agree ukuthi avulele lo tshwala njengobhuti isikolo sibeka sashilo earlier ukuthi problem ukuthi yazi ifana nani, if uvalele umuntu uthi mina ngingajoli and mina ngifuna ukujola and ngishisa lento le lapha phakathi uthi mina ngifuna ukujola, yazi ngizokwenzani? I will behave lapha ngakho mara ngizophuma ngiyojola. I know sengile but nje I'm trying to just make a point. So give the people what they want with responsibilities. That's it.
But then it's hard because some people want it, some people don't. So who do you give? Do you listen to the ones who are saying no, or do you listen to the ones who are saying yes as the leader of the country?
So you look at both pros and cons, right? Why do we say we want alcohol out first, right? We know, like number one, you cannot jabulisa wonke umuntu. That's number one. But then you look at if ngibavulela, or if I agree, or if I do not agree, what is the impact? Right now, we know our status as a country. I'm not going to go back to that. We want activity, economy and everything. That's number one. And alcohol and tobacco, that's even worse. Tobacco, it's another loner on its own. Like the guy has mentioned earlier, close to 1.17 billion. That's a whole lot of cash. So so that is why I'm saying you look at both. Okay, what's in it for the country and what's in it for the people? Yes, healthy for the people, and then we also need activities for the country, because yes, what's the use of having a healthy country while they are economically unfit or unwell? That's a question.
So does it mean we are ready to open industries contribute to the economy? What if nenhlangano of prostitutes of South Africa say Nazi we are ready to go to work, we will practice safety, we will sanitize everything that we use uma sisebenza, and we will make sure we keep safe because nabo phela imndeni yabilambile nje babengakwazi.
Mara leyo inzima kakhulu leyo awusithenjiwe. So it's cause leyo inzima kakhulu with alcohol.
Then use sanitizers.
Akukho simple. Labantu laba they doing more contacts than ever.
Before they contact. I need to before you take the customer, sanitize, you wash your hands. Now, but they'll wash the relevant tools and they will sanitize the relevant tools. They need to go back to work. They need to feed their families.
I love my tricky kakhulu because I'm just trying to imagine how will it work. Yeah, when with alcohol it's better. Uba nedambi yakho or inini yakho uyayiphuza, right? So with that kind of activity, because now it's two becoming one and activities and touching, and we're trying to avoid the touching.
Phela masala prostitute ukuthi yenzeke kushuthi you are allowing abantu ukuthi they can contact ngendlela abathanda ngayo.
Phela ama-prostitutes guys. Ngicela ukufunda this important message. All the messages and comments we get are very important, but I thought let me just read le kaQhonovu Zitho uthi hi sis Thenjiwe, cha nami ngithi angisikele jikayo la. Empeleni isinqumo sika Baba Ramaphosa silungile ngoba uma ukuthi uzobalekela ukutheleleka ngalomkhuhlane kuyinto ongeke uyibalekele. Uma uzoyithola ngani vele kuyaye ezitolo. Vele kuyayiwe ezitolo, so he doesn't see where it's going to be different. Abantu baye ezitolo to buy alcohol because already we are going to the shops to buy. It's just going to be we are buying something different.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, because kunemndeni la isavava ngayo la malikho ngotshwala. So can asikwazi ukuthembela. Asikwazi ukuthembela ekuthenini utshwala bungadayiswa while kunemndeni ekwazi ukuba financial supported ngenxa yatshwala. Because ukudla lokho esinikwa kona sikuthembi ukuthi kuyafika kuthina kwabanye akufiki. So abanye they able to survive ngayo le mali yatshwala. So ukuvula kwatshala ngeke kusize kuphela abantu abaphuzayo, but will siza neminye imndeni financially.
Unduranyo ngathi commenter from experience. It's the social distancing in prostitution is impossible.
Nami ngiyamvumela it's that one is tricky but do it.
Unkululeko ukuthi yazi nginombono la. Kunganjani kuqale ama-essential services ukuyothenga utshwala bagcine o-350. Eish, that's a very, very important one. But then we want our essential services to be sober. We don't want them, hey, Tala. Sure. We want them to be sober. We don't want our doctors to have access to alcohol. In fact, maybe essential services should not be allowed to buy alcohol. We need them sober. As a country. Usim Thembile Ntuli awumpemba uthi but thanks Thenji for bringing this to our attention. We appreciate that. There will be a high risk of accidents because people will drink and drive. Drinking and driving. What do you think of that, Isputhis?
Not acceptable. Not at all. Leo yazini. In fact, I know there's a couple of hours that they keep you nabaktolile endleleni. In fact, because uyolala simply because a problem. If let's say when uphuzile ne uzoshayisa lo muntu osober ohamba nomndeni wakhe nayo yonke into le. So the impact can be high and huge. That's why I'm saying leyo nje it's non-negotiable. It should not even be tolerated. That is why babucela athi you can phuza, but phuza at your father's house or in your own house, not emgwaqweni. The problem futhi nasesidayiwe is because awuyiboni nespeed sakhona because you
Sbusiso leyo ukuthi we must drink at our father's house. I found it very offensive because a majority of us South Africans, we don't know who our fathers are. So it left a lot of us very cold.
Okay, yeah.
He knows this. He knows. Majority of us do not know who our fathers are. So where do we go?
Drink at your own house. Gini, noma ngabe kagogo noma kamalume mara phuze ekhaya. I think just underline your father's house or inverted commas father's house. You know what?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, so
sorry kancane welokhuza. Sibusiso fanele baningi osibusiso in this chat. Sibusiso fanele cele I've just dropped the link again to join us. Sibusiso wanted to know how does he join us. Click on that link that I have just dropped.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kunephuzu lokuphuza uthelile kancane. So I think why I'm passionate about it because like I know it has impacted me in some way. So whereby munye umuntu ashayisa umuntu engimaziyo and then wagcina sekuba inkinga enkulu yabo. So is what vele angizwisisi and I don't think it's something that should be even be entertained. Umuntu asali ukuthi umuntu aphuze umuntu akaphuze la aphuza khona agree futhi nawo uzokuthi sodakiwe futhi manje futhi kumnandi kakhulu technologies the way say imnandi ngakhona even the insurances is as much, they will tell you, okay, now so suit, meaning you are drunk. Give us a call. We'll come and pick you up and they will drop you off at your house. We'll get a driver to take you to your destination. In problem, behind the wheel, and guess what's going to happen in the way? I was not how to get home. And then I was not to shaisen or to and all those things. They are crying out there because of when you're not even aware, because you are not fully conscious. That's the problem with driving while you are drunk.
Unduduzo is coming with another valid point. Uthi asikhumbuleni ukuthi lockdown ayiphelile, kuphuzelwa ekhaya, plus driving is for abasebenzayo and going to shops. So do we trust that people will still not drive, or bazothi utshwala bami, I must drive and drink some more, or I missed my friend, let me go and see them? Phela mase sidakiwe siba nje ne-confidence ethile.
Yeah, that's a challenge. That's a serious challenge. And futhi sithanda ubumnandi nasesiphuzile. That's why isifuna ukuhlangana nabanye abantu. That's the biggest problem.
Don't worry, drinking and driving will not really be on the cards. When uphuzele ekhaya bese uyalala.
Siyavumelana in one way or the other, but yeah. So to your previous point though, I was changing where we said nase sengizokuthi sengiphuzile ngifuna ukubona umngani. Leyo angazi ukuthi what are the measures that they're going to put in place, because angazi ukuthi bazoyenza ama roadblocks every now and then or yonke indawo. So it's still going to be one of the challenges. I think that's one of the assessments ezizoyenziwa immediately after, just to see ukuthi abantu how are they behaving, because now ngabuthenga utshwala bami ngize nabo nangisola lapho ngifuna ukubona ngami kuphi kuphi, the next thing I cause something else endleleni.
Eish, yeah, ne? Uzinhle is trying to join us. Uthi uzinhle hayi kunzima khona kumanje izingane abazali basayishaya bodwa beyofuna labo 2 litha abenziwayo, nakhona mabebuya babuye bashaya izingane sebephuzile. Bukhona abukho kuyafana nje ngoba nampa yeah, because we still had alcohol during the no alcohol levels, because people still had access to alcohol.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
apparently I've heard there's been a lot of fake alcohol products are used.
Yep.
Usimthembile uMphemba uthi, why do they open liquors but not opening KFC, McDonald's, etc.? This is not fair. Some of us are addicted to lezi zinto siyazithanda. Ngicela nimphendule manje.
I think Ulo Simtembile, it's already open, like KFC, Chicken Lick in the works, but on delivery. So you just download. I feel like I'm promoting now. You just download the delivery thing, and then they online. They deliver at your doorstep. So yeah, check it out. Check them out. It's actually quick, and the first one is for free. So check them out.
Yeah. Oh, so the first delivery is free. That is good.
Yeah.
It is very, very good. Yeah, guys, but these are conversations we need to have. And when someone was asking, what's up in Masosha? Amasosha where you guys are? Do you still have Amasosha Mkakwen or our sect? Because in the beginning there were soldiers everywhere.
Where I am, I've never even, not even day one, not even guy one, but I have, my neighbor is actually a soldier. So yeah, I know what happened, why, because in our areas we behave, so yeah.
Oh, you behave?
Yeah, no, one of those that behaves, eh?
It's that. Udube Pegani. We are going through a lot as a country, already being locked for 2 months now, and some of us are stressed and don't even know what to do while corona. As is zoning, we can control ourselves.
Yeah. But just there's a thin line, I was telling you, the way you want to if this is for the sake of causes stress and whatnot, I think alcohol is for entertainment. Personally, that's how I think it. It's for entertainment. It's okay. No, like I know it's mostly sebati after I had a long day, but it's mainly for entertainment. Okay, I'm just chilling, I'm just braaiing and everything. So personally, I think it should be one of those. Okay, it's not good to keep stress because the problem is that when I'm drunk, I don't feel that stress. But once in we back to soberness, where my mental capacity is 100% back on, we less stress. So that's why I'm just saying it should, yes, it should be there, but mainly for entertainment, just for relaxing and distressing, but not really good. Okay, I need alcohol because I'm
so need professional help. If you cannot function without alcohol, you don't need a drink because you're thirsty. You have serious problems that need professional help. And when I said before, if you are drinking, you must wear a mask. Drink wearing a mask.
In fact,
we need to be responsible, guys. We need to be responsible. In fact, when you go to buy alcohol, you should not be allowed to go in ungas protectang. This is how people must go to buy alcohol so that they can protect each other. Otherwise, they must not be so usual. Sibusiso, I've got two Sibusisos again. How are you? How are you? Ndosi? Mawusibusiso akazazi iy'thakazelo zakhe. Sibusiso Cele, Fanele. Can you hear me? Fanele, can you hear me? Yeah, please say something. Let's see if we can hear you. We do not hear you. I don't know what is happening, but we cannot hear you. Uthi ukhudzayi wesimthembile ngane yami, do not dare compare KFC notshwala. Alcohol has a direct impact on any country's economy. Uma bungayiyeka ukudayiswa utshwala lizowa irand. And irand is already very low compared to other currencies, guys. Livele liziwele nje irand. We've got someone else who is coming in. Nduduzo.
Yebo, ninjani? Khona.
Ngikhona nami uSibusiso asimuzwa kodwa I'm sure he's going to fix his mic very soon. Wena uthini ngalolu daba?
No, mina sisithenjiwe into engisho ukuthi abantu asingenze ngazuthi mangabe kuthiwa utshwala buzodayiswa, then abantu will not be controlled. Ziningi indlela zokuvimba ukuthi abantu bangathengi noma kanjani. For instance, mangabe umama unkosazana esekhuluma, I'm sure uzokhuluma ngokuthi abantu sithenga kanjani utshwala, ngasiphi isikhathi, thenga into engakanani, sihlala isikhathi esingakanani. Yabo zonke lezo zinto lezo isazochazwa kahle. Mase kuyakwazi ukuthi kuzwakala ukuthi senze njani. Ngoba iqiniso ukuthi siyabudinga utshwala ukuthi buthengiswe. So ayikho enye indlela esizokwenza ngayo ngoba mangabe sisobheka i-tax index iyakhomba ukuthi vele i-budget eningi ye-health sector, ye-health department is dependent on e-tax. And large contributors are alcohol and tobacco. But unfortunately, tobacco is clearly linked to lung diseases, which are also underlying with corona. So they cannot boldly open, even though being a with bavule, but there is that health harm which is directly linked. Whereas alcohol doesn't enjoy the same linkage with corona. That's why bevuma ukuthi bayivule. So mangabe sokhuluma ngamanye ama-industries bazowavula, but ngeke kuze kuvulwe yonke into at the same time. But those that are important, that's why uCyril kade khuluma ebekuchaza kahle ukuthi the most important thing is to make sure that we have our economy running again, because the lockdown has been successful, but it cannot go on forever. And we have to recover for it. We have to sustain our country for that.
There is people are saying alcohol is a social drink. I'm trying to unmute to mute. Yeah. people are saying ukuthi alcohol we make us siphuzile, we want to socialize, we want to be around our friends. You don't want to be at home drinking by yourself. So it's going to make us want to socialize. And I think there's something we can borrow from other countries. Have photos of your friends, umusu phuzile, put them around, and then you will feel like you are with your friends as you are drinking. You know your favorite people. Just take photos of all your friends. Oh, you can have a party. Tina, we've been having a Zoom party where your friends are wherever they are. You connect and it's nice in your dance. Someone will be a DJ, someone will be an MC. It feels like you are with your friends. This couple getting married.
That's true.
Have a but they put a photo where everyone was supposed to sit. So now we can do that, or we can have. There are so many things that we can do managing with technology.
The problem, sorry to ungena emlonyeni. As South Africans, let's just be honest. As Africans, actually, maybe other countries but they can cope kamnandi ngale ndlela. As Africans, we are physical beings. Sithanda abantu, and that's why kuba a bit tricky na this social distancing. Mara kona kufanele mara nje kunzima nyana. And angazi ukuthi lento lesingayenza kanjani because singabantu babantu and then sifuna ukuthi na celebrate sibe sinabanye abantu and then wes utshwala ke hawu angisakhulumi ke ngoba vele sonke abanye baba nomlomo omkhulu nabangathola ukuthi they are quiet but once start drinking then bakhuluma kakhulu abanye baqala bathanda abantu nasebaphuzile ukuthi abazwani nabantu. So that's the thing with alcohol, and it's going to be tricky for Tina Lamzansi.
Yeah, we are a different human race, Tina, on our own. The country was doing very well without utshwala. I-lockdown ingisize in terms of abstaining alcohol. Manje my kokoti piano downstairs kuleli flat ngihlala kulona, I'll be tempted.
Aye, asali ukuthi we are African. It's our nature to socialize. Angali. But that's where Nkosazana comes in. That's where Upegicele comes in to make sure that Sibopi Pond, Hlale and that's if Kuguti we are refusing to be disciplined because we say it's our human nature, then we won't get anywhere. So it also doesn't really depend on alcohol. It also depends how willing are we to cooperate to make sure that we manage to fight the virus. And then alcohol should be closed. It's not going to be a permanent solution. A permanent solution is we need to learn to take responsibility for our own actions. And like I say, there are going to be proper regulations which are going to guide us with the siphuza kanjani utshwala. And singakhohlwa ngisasho futhi singakhohlwa i-lockdown elile ukubulwa kotshwala akusho ukuthi ngeke kusaba khona ama restrictions. So that is still going to be part of the guiding process. So asingabheki ngazuthi it's the end of i-lockdown ukuvulwa kotshwala. There are still other things as ayisazoba in line, in place to make sure ukuthi abantu bayaziphatha. Though ngingasho ukuthi wonke umuntu will immediately cooperate. It will be a challenge, angikuphiki lokho. Kodwa there is still a possibility. That is why we have to explore and see what happens so that sibone ukuthi how do we move ahead, because at the end of the day it's a necessary decision, not only for those who drink but also for those who do not drink but actually need the tax injection which is going to be coming through.
Yeah, Kutai, how are you?
Hey, akufani nokuqabula imbongolo dadewethu.
Uyayithatha imbongolo nje bakuvalwe ngisho emazunji.
Yeah, mina ebengifisa ukusho ukuthi kuyangimangalisa lento eyenzakala eSouth Africa ukuthi utshwala bungadayiswa. Mina ngiphuma eZimbabwe banabo nje utshwala bebudayiswa nje kwi-lockdown. Njengamanje ngikhuluma nani nje ngise-Canada. Utshwala bukhona la siyayithengela utshwala siyiphuzele nje kahle. Umuntu ayingenele endlini yakhe aphuze utshwala bakhe. So it doesn't make sense ukuthi kuthiwe abantu abangabuthengi utshwala. What's the reason?
if other countries are issuing it out, if other countries are allowing people to have as much alcohol as they like, why wouldn't South Africans be given that right, that privilege? Simply close nightclubs, because those nightclubs then will affect social distancing. It becomes impossible ukuthi abantu ba-practice social distancing. Kakuvalwe lezo ndawo, kuvalwe lapho okuphuzelwa khona utshwala, la abantu abahlala khona akungavunyelwa, la kuzoba khona endaweni ezinjengaseGagasini le koThekwini, kuvalwe-ke lapho. Kodwa let Topsy sell alcohol. Get arrested if you don't practice social distancing. As simple as that. Lana nje, it's $1,200 ticket le social distancing. I will tell you something. I'm in Canada, guys. La Canada, away kwamapoyisa, away kwamasosha, uyihambela nje ukuthanda kwakho. Just be responsible. Bayasithemba njengabantu ukuthi mabasitshela ukuthi practice social distancing. We practice it. Abantu bayihlalele ezindlini zabo. You don't go where you don't need to go. Mufuna ukuya emashop, uyaphuma nje uhambe uyothenga lento oyifunayo uphenduke endlini.
But do you think mhlambe it was a mistake ukuthi babuvale in the first place? Because uma sebevula, it's gonna cause a chaos going back to the shops. Or was it a good decision ukuvala even from the beginning?
It was never a good decision. It was not called for. It was not necessary. Sasingekho nje isidingo sokuvalela abantu ukuthi bangaphuzi utshwala. Let people drink, but let them drink responsibly. Those who will not listen, bopha. Kwamele baboshwe nje. Abangeke bazi ba practice social distancing. Let people buy. Oqala nje njengoba ngishilo, i-alcohol ne-tobacco, they have direct impact on South African economy. GDP ye South Africa nje has been affected by blocking tobacco and alcohol. Those things are amongst the major exports of the South African economy, of any Southern African country. But as Southern Africans, we have to produce and supply tobacco. I remember African distillers, Zimbabwe, it relocated to Johannesburg. Because of the economy when things were not going well, South African distillers. Now, if you don't allow them to supply, they run at a loss, and it's the country which gets affected. You see, as people want to look at certain things religiously. Into ezinjenge-religion ngiyazi baza ngixolele laba abakhonza sabatheni nakwezinye inkolo la ungavunyelwa khona utshwala. It doesn't make sense. If you come to this part of the world, amasabatha siphuza nawo la. But if you go back home to Africa, amasabatha awaphuzi utshwala. What's that? Yeah. So thina inkinga esinayo eAfrica sinehaba. Why won't they answer a simple question yokuthi how come just across Limpopo next door utshwala buyadayiswa? And level of corona is way lower in Zimbabwe than in South Africa. They have 51 cases and 4 deaths next door. But
utshwala
is not the cause.
Manje Kudzai, how do we compare South Africa with a first world country? Because Tina, we are still struggling. Have you seen a mask?
Hey,
we are struggling. What if now we take this money? Utshwala futhi.
Inkinga nje impela leyo kuma mask la kumele ukuthi kulungiswe nje. Ukuthi ama-mask have been a big issue. The whole world was affected ngenkinga yama-mask. Ama-mask ade engatholakali nje kuyo yonke indawo. So suddenly countries like third world countries like Zimbabwe and South Africa, Botswana, they've ended up saying, okay, silungiseleni ama-mask yenu ngasemakhaya niwasebenzise. But how good are those masks? How effective are they going to be?
Some countries are not refusing to wear masks, but that's a topic for another day.
uTrump wavela wanqaba nje imask yena wakhuluma nje wathi yena angeke nje azazi ayifake imask. Thina lana ke we have places where you cannot access if you don't have a mask. Bayakutshela nje ukuthi la awungeni la ngoba unayo imask. Kodwa ke it has never been enforced ukuthi fakana ama-mask la eniyakhona nje noma ngabe kuthiwa uyaphi awukwazi akekho umuntu ozokuphoqa ukuthi ufake imask.
So you do not get arrested mongayifakile.
Oh no, you will not. Ayi le yakho le ngathi bazokudeporta mongeza la bazothi uyikwerekwere nje.
I've got a very good comment that I want before we lose you, Kudzai. Undurengo uti, Kudzai, inking asifani no Canada. We have squatter camps and sections in townships that just cannot even compare to a poor neighborhood in a first world country.
Okay, Undureko ufuna ukukhuluma ngeCanada kuphela. Ngithe mina komakhelwane khona la eZimbabwe. eZimbabwe naseBotswana nako Lesotho utshwala buyadayiswa. So abanga-blame utshwala, akuyona inkinga yotshwala, it's other things, not alcohol. They just have personal issues. Yeah. So and besides, my point is umuntu akayekwe athenge utshwala ahambe nabendlini yakhe uma ngabe engabreacha ama-laws social distancing abeseboshwa babophe nje futhi impela izandla neinyawo. You know, in New York it's 1,300 if I'm not 1,250 or 1,300 US dollars for breaching breaching. Exactly. Yeah, if you talk of 1,200 US dollars, you are talking of 130,000 rands for breaching social distance laws. So nalana nje kunjalo thina la is 1,200 for breaching social distancing laws. Kodwa ke ayikekho umuntu enforceayo, abantu bayihlalela nje ezindlini zabo bayithulele.
Unduduzo is dying to say something.
Akasho ngibona ngilalela.
Nduduzo ngicela
impela. Kudzai, I respect your opinion and it's valid to a certain extent. One thing, it is wrong to say that it was not necessary to close alcohol in South Africa, particularly. Because the reason for the lockdown, first of all, was to make sure that we are equipped enough in terms of the health system to be able to face the increase of numbers, because that is inevitable. It's something that we can't avoid. So the idea of the lockdown was to make sure that the health personnel and the health facilities are prepared ukuthi bakwazi ukuthi badile nama cases. And one way okwenze njalo ukuthi ama-accidents on the road are cut down. That's one. Two, ama-incidences okulwa are cut down. And that allows medical staff to focus on preparation for lockdown, for the virus to be tackled. And that is why we are beginning to slowly open up. So it was completely necessary. Saying that it was not necessary is a wrong view. It was completely necessary. We needed it and we still need it, but it cannot be sustained forever because it is not a solution. It will not stop the numbers from increasing. And the other thing, when you look at the number of cases in other neighboring countries, it's not simply because the cases are not there, but it's because of the vastness of the testing which is done. There is not as many people as South Africa has gone towards testing. For instance, look at the cases of Tanzania, where they were saying that the cases are very low. But immediately when they started boosting up the testing process, they found out that a large number of the population was actually having symptoms and was symptomatic, and they were still busy transferring the virus from one person to the other. So let us not say that it was not necessary. Let us not say that it's not a reality. It is a reality. And then again, Lesotho didn't really need to have serious measures because when South Africa closes their borders, basically no one enters Lesotho. Simple as that. Botswana, it's also almost the same case. But then at the same time, remember that when we in South Africa declared a state of disaster, Botswana went a step further and declared a state of emergency, and they still had the ban on alcohol. You go to Botswana now, you will not find the ban of alcohol. They do not even have a promise that we have that they are going to be having alcohol sold. So let us not make the general overview completely pertinent to South Africa. It is not. South Africa has its own ideal way. It may not be the perfect solution, but it was an effective measure that could be taken. So let us not water that down.
Okay, I wanna add this comment by UNC. Uti, we are known as an alcoholic country, so more people were going to join the statistics if alcohol was opened during lockdown. South Africans are saying we do know that we have a problem with alcohol. We are a country that has a problem with alcohol and alcoholics. And if it had not been stopped, we would have had to deal with more cases of increase. But because it was stopped, yes, and now people were able to process the whole thing with a sober mind. So now the question is the reopening of liquor places going to make things worse, especially on the 1st of June, Magvulwa, I just foresee people begijima ngazi ukuthi Black Friday to go and buy alcohol. And also we must remember in South Africa, we really do seriously have inkinga alcohol. People have been dying from making fake alcohol at home. Are you aware of that? We've lost a number of people because of that. So, but South Africans are saying that alcohol abuse is a real problem we have in South Africa, and we cannot ignore it. Sorry, ngizokuvula manje Mike, ngifuna ukufunda just these comments. Uselum Kizot, I agree with Ndu to a limited extent. SAB just spilled thousands of beer, resulting to hundreds of job losses. Why did they open fast food before alcohol? So it seems like the debate, economy and people losing jobs is also a very strong one. Closing it during the level 2 really helped. Alcohol was stopped because we are not disciplined as a country, and I don't see it getting better this time around. Yo, South Africans, you know yourselves. Niyabuthanda utshwala. Yes, uthini futhi?
Yeah, ngiyabonga Ndu ngama-comments akho, but I still beg to differ. With you ngoba unikezile example yeLesotho wakhuluma ngeBotswana. Those are slightly over 1 million in terms of population. Waziba iZimbabwe, waziba iZambia, engithe mina ziyabudayisa utshwala, akaze nje zinqabela abantu ukudayisa utshwala, bavala ama-night clubs. Let people buy alcohol. One thing I know ngokukhula kwami nanokuhlala kwami eSouth Africa, because I was in South Africa at university for a few years and I worked a little bit there. Ngokwazi kwami umahluko khona in terms of discipline between Zimbabweans and South Africans ukuthi eZimbabwe kukhona amaphoyisa ashaya nayo, kuyashawa, bashaya izibhaqo lapha, kuyashawa nje indoda iyashawa impela nje zibe right.
Someone made that comment ukuthi police in Zimbabwe know how to deal with people, and Zimbabweans are more well behaved. South Africans ayahluleka utshwala.
Angazi-ke ukuthi kuthiwe Zimbabweans are more well behaved or not, kodwa amaphoyisa angakithi ayashaya. Futhi muke wayejele laseZimbabwe uzobatshela bonke, awuphindi nje uphindele emuva. It's not like what I saw in South Africa. I lived in South Africa at some point. I was once hijacked. Ngaphosa ngafa, ngihamba ngayohlala esibhedlela, ngathi mangiphola babanjwa labaya abantu, and I got a chance from the court to go and visit them in prison. The people who hijacked me, I had an opportunity. Sorry?
And then you found them in a hotel.
Oh, I found them watching DSTV. In fact, I had an opportunity to read the latest newspapers when I was there with those guys, because it's habitable. I know ukuthi right, ukuthi abantu babe nama human rights. Kodwa ke so many people live better lives in prisons, in South African prisons, than out there in South Africa. Mabe iphilele. My point really is, I don't want us to change the topic because I respect the correctional services of South Africa. But my point is, eZimbabwe muke wayejele, awuphinde uphindele emuva futhi, it doesn't happen. That's why people who leave prisons in Zimbabwe end up border jumping and getting into South Africa. Ngoba bazozenzela nje ukuthanda kwabo. Thina nje uMgabe washiye enforce i-discipline enzima kabi. I-public drinking is a very big issue. So ngithe mina eZimbabwe utshwala buyadayiswa akaze nje babumise they simply closed amabawa. Angazi ukuthi South Africa khona yini amabars, those big bars where people sit together and have a time bavalisa lezi zinto lezi amashebhini la abhana kudala ke wona. People have been allowed to buy beer and drink from home, and we didn't see any effects. And I would like to say to Nduduzo, shintsho bani oluzoba khona njengamanje njengoba nje abantu sebevunyelwa ukuthi bathenge utshwala. Do you think this is going to affect ama numbers if police enforce their laws? Lezithombe lezi ade sizibona lezi amaphoyisa ecitha utshwala, that is not right. That's not justified. It can never be justified ukuthi bathatha utshwala babantu babuchithe. They should be arrested for that. Police do not have power.
And people were breaking the law because they were consuming alcohol and selling alcohol when it was not legal to do so in the country.
Yeah, but iphoyisa linawo amandla okuthatha umthetho lufaka ezandleni zawo. Umuntu mangabe enze njalo, you confiscate what you're supposed to confiscate, take the person to court. Ama-courts of law akaze avalwe eSouth Africa, and then the court makes a decision because that person owachithela utshwala bakhe uma engaprove ukuthi lobu utshwala lobu wayekade ebuthenge kudala enabo nje ezitokele endlini because it's within my rights to stock.
But angithi ama-laws ashintshile njengoba sikwi-lockdown, we've lost quite a lot of our civil liberties.
No, but if the law changes, it changes from the day of promulgation. It doesn't make it prohibited ukuthi lezi zinto wawuzithenge kudala as affectwa umthetho wanamhlanje.
No, they were actively selling it or making it.
Yeah, well, those who were actively selling it or making it, exactly, that one is against the law. But still, remember, police officers are not law themselves, but they are enforcers of the law. So what it means is, meluthi bakubambe uma ngabe usephutheni bakuhambise enkantolo kube yila ukuzothathwa khona inqumo khona, not ukuthi
lockdown manje siyazenzela nje singamaphoyisa.
Yeah, which is so wrong. It's unacceptable. Amaphoyisa kumele bekwazi ukuthi it is illegal even to follow an illegal command. You see, so as a police officer, if you're captain or whatever, I'm not so sure with the ranking orders in South Africa, but if the high-ranked police officer tells you as a junior ukuthi asithitheni lobu utshwala and you comply, you are committing an offense by complying because it's illegal to follow an illegal command.
You are being too technical. You're going into the law. Let me read one of the comments. We have lived in a first world country for too long. We are talking about Africa, South Africa. But I don't understand this Kudzai guy. He himself says Zimbabweans are disciplined comparatively to South Africans. So how can he expect South Africans to respect the rules? The socialization of the two population is so different. It's not a joke.
I think she's misquoting
your family. Even as siblings, we don't behave the same. So as much as we are all in Africa, there's a way we behaved as South Africans, especially under influence. And maybe something really needs to be addressed. Maybe we still need to heal from the wounds of apartheid, but alcohol, the way it's dealt with in South Africa is so different. Let me hear Professor Ugututini. Professor?
Yes.
Yes, unjani uthini wena ngalolu daba?
Ngalolu ndaba leli likhuluma ngalo bhuti, I'm not quite so sure ngoba bengakangeni nje, but ngendlela achaza ngakhona ukhuluma ngamazwe ayi-2 ahlukile, so that's why bamphendula ngalendlela bamphendule ngakhona ngoba ukhuluma ngeZimbabwe and while we are talking about South Africa. So and amaphoyisa sorry
uthi unomdluli and amaphoyisa asekhaya wona ngokwawo ayizidakwa, even our cops are alcoholics, so kwawona ya celebrate. And true story, kunamaphoyisa that were called from the people. They were taking it and doing it for themselves. Kunamaphoyisa that were caught selling alcohol underground during stage 5 and stage 4.
You see ukuthi nawo amapholisa wethu wala eMzansi enza i-corruption under a rules of i-lockdown. So njengoba ngisitsho ukuthi ubhuti into ayichazako, so amapholisa ngiwo abanga i-corruption esicaleni lapho ngoba sometimes you can only find out ukuthi bayamazi lo muntu obuthengisa utshwala but angeke baye kuye bomlanda or bombopha due to ukuthi bathatha nabo intshotshwa ngisho. So it's what they do. So
we have a
and then
comment from
abazidakwa
uthi nawa yidakwa. Dr. Tigeledi Mabalane uthi the effects of alcohol may quickly multiply the virus. Watch the space. We saw recently in one country abroad, immediately after opening bottle stores, the virus rate tripled. This is from
lento yokuvula kotshwala siyibhekeni ngelinye ilihlo guys, as like we are talking right now, ne? Check on social media. Sorry?
I'm moving to Canada. Salan and be thirsty.
Manje, people, they are so excited with alcohol is coming back. So why don't we people with social media, they are busy posting alcohol is coming back. They are so excited. It's in like 12 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning. They will go there and buy. And second mali by TTP. And the day the utshwala buyovulwa, mark my word, abantu baningi bothenga utshwala akusuthi abantu abanayo imali banayo, they are waiting ukuthi utshwala buvulwe. They are so excited. Like I was just checking the trending post nje around nje.
People are very excited. Izolo bengathi kuhlukanyiswa unyaka eSouth Africa.
So lokho kusibizelani.
Ngicela ukufunda le comment yaSithembile. Uthi uSithembile, on the other view, I agree with Kudzai for promoting sale of alcohol because the population in South Africa will continue to grow. So SAB or wine farms will assist by contributing in the economy of South African poverty will be on hold. It will help with poverty. What about that? That's the social impact and how people will behave. Let us talk about economy. Are we not happy ukuthi is the contributor kwi-economy ilokhuzana? NanguKhudzai.
Okay. Ngiqale ngokubonga uMamphemba lapho unangu uSithembile uMphemba. Uqinisile impela ngoba utshwala industry alcohol, it employs a lot of people, way over 1 million in South Africa. So if you close it, you've affected so many families. And okwesibili njengoba ngeke ngasho ukuqala lapha ngathi it affects GDP because South Africa sells yabo silanje sinama section ewine yase South Africa. South Africa is known for good wines here. And that section has become empty because ayikho supply. I-supply ayikho buvinjiwe ngale asabtholi ke la sesiphuza utshwala bamanye amazwe manje ngoba obasemzansi abukho la. Ngicela umute nangu lo okhuluma nomalume lapho assistant. So ke now that I'm saying la engikhona ama sections ama South African wine are empty, that affects South Africa because South Africa requires foreign currency. The Canadian dollar is 10 times stronger than the rand. So if you block it, the exports are also affected. Abantu bangabuki nje utshwala ngemali engena through itops. Khona utshwala obuhamba ngemkhumbi, khona utshwala obuye ofika la ngamabhanoyi. Bu contribute imali eningi ngabo lobo tshwala lo buvinjiwe nabo. Because production is stopped, selling is stopped, and so the GDP of South Africa is affected. Yazi ngikhulume ngotshwala wavele kwa ungavele nje ngomekuseni kunje ngivukela nje manje
we'll kick you out. Uyasalisa.
hayi kabi dadewethu ingoba nje nini enikhulume ngotshwala bengingafuni ukuphuza mina ekuseni ngiziphuzela itiye nkosi yami kodwa nje nina nakhuluma indaba yotshwala kwavele kwathi hayi angisale sengithi nje mothu kancane kodwa ke ngivumelana naye uMantuli ngokuthi yena athi yena families will be affected because people are employed in the alcohol industry. Nanokuthi enye into engithanda ukuthi ngiyigcizelele ukuthi yihaba ukunqabela abantu ukuthi baphuze utshwala. Let people buy alcohol, they will take it to their homes and drink njengoba ngiphuza kanje.
Uzo noSibusiso bazongibulala manje bayasha. Before that, kodwa ngicela ukufunda nayi comment from Usindi Gumbizemura. Uthi Usindi, it's sad learning how the very persons trusted to enforce the law are breaking it. Alcohol consumption is a serious matter that needs all level of government and public alike to engage on truthfully to address it. Think it's a bit off though to compare discipline of South Africa and Zimbabwe persons. It's a topic that's not bilateral to handling of alcohol. Uti Greatnet Johannes, in Sweden we move as we like, but people here are disciplined. All shops were never closed, including alcohol shops. Yeah, ne? I think, I don't know, maybe the closing of alcohol should not have happened in the first place. Maybe it was a good thing. Angazi. Sbu, you are unmuted.
Oh yeah. I hear Putkutsai, right? But the issue meaning now is that, especially if you look at South Africa, I think the last time I checked, we were like more than 57 people. I'm sure now we're over 16 million people or around South Africa. It's very tricky if we're going to compare to a country that hosts maybe say 5 million. I'm not sure in terms of the numbers when you look at Canada. And then if it's very if you compare the two countries. One of the challenges is Nazo, I think somebody made mention earlier, is that South Africa, whereby some people prefer instead of stress and whatnot, I'll go and drink or I'll go and have a drink, right? Because maybe unemployment issues or anything like that. It's better for someone who is well off on a young kind. Finally, like when we started with the whole lockdown, it was tricky for some people, especially Laba Beba. It's nice if ever you've got a thank you, Thenjiwe confirmed. It's fine for someone with a humongous house, a big yard and whatnot to be on a lockdown because I can move anywhere however I want. Now, if you find someone or in a, I don't want to move away, but I'm just trying to paint a picture. So there are some of the things, there's some complexities between the two countries. If you, especially if you compare, if that's why you need to at least so. When it comes to the point of alcohol, I'm saying people should be given that, like you said, there's no alcohol in your country. One, it was the best decision ever that the president took to stop. One, what happened when they stopped selling, we got to learn. I think it was Uputunduduzo who made mention earlier. We got firstly to learn about the actual virus, right, in details, because they really went hard in terms of teaching the communities or teaching the people about the coronavirus. And then sometimes you need to take specific decisions, like a very harsh decisions for people to learn. That was the direction I believe the president took. Now we went through first week, second week, third week. Honestly speaking, yes, it was hard, but then majority of them people got to understand, okay, this thing, it's real, it's caused by this and that, these are the side effects, this is how you get it. So here's the problem, if ever alcohol was still allowed. If alcohol was still allowed, here's what happens when I'm watching TV, when I'm drinking. I do not pay attention. Even if because my focus is on the alcohol I'm consuming. And remember how we consume, if you compare Canada, I'm not sure how they consume in Canada, but if you look at South Africans, Tina, we go all out, Baba, siyapuza, and we have fun, right? I'm not saying that they don't in your country, in Canada. So I'm just saying, South Africans, so one, it was a lesson we learned. Right now, I believe that majority of South Africans are at a state whereby they understand. Now, I think after the first, maybe by the 6th or the 7th, they will review, there will be a report back to check how people behaving, assessing the situation. If people are still going back to, let me be honest with you, we wouldn't want to find ourselves going back to level 5, because level 5 we were locked, we were like in prison. So I think a piece or the abantu, in terms of knowledge, they will understand which, okay, guy, I need to really behave in such a manner uguti I don't go back to where I come from, because I've been there where I was thirsty, like really thirsty and no access. I've been there where I had no freedom to walk around however I want. So I feel personally we're ready. Yes. Yes, minister will still come, Dr. Zuma will come and break down things. Yes, we will try whatever best to abide. So going back to the previous point, I feel good. It was a brilliant decision to stop, because sometimes before you move forward, you need to really put brakes on and then put on neutral before you start and say one, because now that's where you really assess it. Okay, this is where we are. This is what happened. This is the current situation. How do we prevent it? We need to put a stop on some of the things before we move forward. That's my take.
Yeah, ne? Nduduzo, kade usha mfana kithi. Kade usha angibulele wena ithuba. We will come back to you, Kudzai.
No. Ngiyabonga. Sino Kudzai, we are not really disagreeing.
Yeah.
The closing of alcohol was really something necessary, and that's where we differ. Kodwa, it was also necessary for us to make sure that we lock it down and assess, as Usbusiso is saying. But then the difficult thing is, it is the major source of income. Siyavumelana noKudzai 100%. And that is why we are saying that it should be opened up, and people should still take responsibility of ensuring that the effort of the lockdown is not cut down. That is the primary thing. And then two, when he says that the shelves are empty, I find it hard to believe, because from level 4, the exports were allowed. And that is part of the reason why they opened up the mines, because we generate more income from the exports than what we spend within the country. So already, because even the production of wine, there is the wine which is simply for South African consumption, and there is wine which is for export purposes.
Ngifuna correct where you say that the shelves are empty. I agree with Kudzai. I'm also currently in England. South African shelves are empty. I think maybe Busendleleni after they opened, because you must remember they must also open borders for staff to start traveling. So yes, even here we can't get South African wines and beers at the moment.
I feel I can't say because I'm in South Africa, but what I know is from the update of the president when he spoke of entering into level 4, he did mention that exports are going to be opened up. So what happened in the process, I'm not sure, because even in the address that he made yesterday, he still highlighted that for export purposes, there is going to be production, there's going to be allowing of borders to be opened for expatriation and exporting purposes, and importing the necessary equipment that we need from other countries. So what happened in the line, I'm not sure. I'm not in a position of commenting on that one. And then another thing, where SAB is concerned, on the 8th of May, they had to pour out almost 130 million liters of alcohol, which had already been prepared for bottling. And that's when they made that's when they made an appeal to government that they are losing on resources of making alcohol, but at the same time, government is also losing on the tax profits. Therefore, they requested, and they were then granted permission to export alcohol to other countries, and even within local borders where they would be sending to other countries. That was then allowed before even the announcement of level 3 was done. That was done on the 18th of May. Because what Kudzai is saying is true. That is the backbone. of our economy, and that is something that we cannot run away from. And it only doesn't really support those who are able to afford alcohol, but it also goes down as far as the SMMEs. The small businesses are dependent on the sale of alcohol because the tavern at home, that's how they make a living. That's how they send their children to school. And when you say that they are not allowed to be selling for people to be drinking at home, because those are other things that are still going to be guided on by Unkosazana Zoom, that in as much as bottle stores are allowed to sell, who are their target market? Because mostly it's those who store up for the taverns. If taverns are going to be having permission to sell to people to access alcohol in their homes, it's going to have an impact on the economy directly. So these are things which have to be considered. But at the same time, it was highly necessary that we have a lockdown to backtrack, make a plan, and say that this is how we are going to deal with this, because it is something that is new and other countries have dealt with it. And other countries also delayed with having lockdowns. And for South Africa, it became very important that we immediately take it because it worked in China. In Italy, they delayed to have it as a means of dealing with the virus. We took it up, and the projections which were there that Africa is going to be wiped out by the coronavirus turned out not to be a reality, because in South Africa, we managed to do the right thing by locking down the country so that we restructure ourselves how to face the pandemic. And other African countries also took the same mentality. Kenya did the same thing even before South Africa, and it worked for them. So it's not that it's a method that has not worked. It has worked because we have to consider the circumstances within South Africa first. How well advanced is the medical system that we have? How is the tracing process of finding people who have contracted the virus or who have been in contact with people who have the virus? All these channels have to be laid in place. And for them to be laid in place without having any interference means let us lock down the country so that we can begin to focus primarily on what is the invisible enemy. And another thing is we forget the psychological impact that the lockdown has had on people. And alcohol is a form of recreation. And that was necessary also to be given to people as they begin to ease down, to say that congratulations for actually doing well. Because another thing, whenever the president addresses South Africans, he always points out that you are doing very well, because we need that psychological morale to say that we are on the right track, we are doing something good. And a little bit of a reward is something that is still going to make everyone to believe that we are not at the end of the world, there's still hope. So opening up and not opening up fully is one way of making sure that we don't get ahead of ourselves, because we don't want to reverse everything that has been done simply by allowing people to go haywire and then have a reality of life which is going to be a doom to everyone else. And then let us not compare South Africa with first world countries in terms of how they handle the alcohol issue, because the level of education matters, the level of poverty matters when you look at the consumption of alcohol, because it is a known fact that the poorer you are, the more you actually have a drinking problem. So Canada is a developed country. They may not have an alcohol problem as South Africa has. That being said, let us also then acknowledge the fact that what works in Canada, we can still incorporate in South Africa and make sure that it works for us. And that is where we are going. We are taking what works for them, we are trying to apply it within our own context to make sure that everyone else moves within their sphere. Let us not jump to be a first world country when we know very well that we are not.
Kudzai.
Okay, ngiyabonga ama-point asekhulunyiwe. Ngicela ukuthi ngivumelane nakho lokhu ukuthi South Africa is South Africa. It is neither Zimbabwe nor Canada. Kodwa ke ney'ngane zakho ziyafunda kamakhelwane. When you see your neighbor's house catching a fire, before you go and help them with ukucisha lo mlilo, check ukuthi lo mlilo awukalumathi kwakho na, because uzohamba nebhakede lakho lapha your house is also caught fire. So it's important to peep ubuke ukuthi next door kwenziwani, how are they tackling their own issues. I'm not disputing the fact that South Africa is an independent state on its own. It's sovereign. It's not supposed to be put in the same bucket as Zimbabwe. We have more similarities than differences in South Africa and Zimbabwe. If anything, in actual fact, when it comes to diversity, Tina, as Zimbabwe, we are the most diverse country in the world. We have the highest number of official languages in the world. So the country with the highest number of official languages in the world is Zimbabwe. I'm just trying to... We have 16 official languages.
Nigeria has 54.
No, they are not official. They are not official. Tina, Zimbabwe, our official languages. If you check on Google, we have...
I only know two. I feel so embarrassed right now.
Oh, yeah. People think like that.
I'm gonna do my research on that.
Look it up. We have a population of Xhosas. We have a population of Abesutu. We have a population of Tswanas. We have Tsongas. We do have almost all the South African languages except for Afrikaans. Kodwa ke ungenani angashintshi i-topic. Ngivumelane nawe futhi lapha ukuthi ama South African shops here, they are empty. I don't know what was announced there, but you know, when you listen to a politician, just use one ear and leave the other ear. You need to be careful. Kufanana no Donald Trump kade shumayela nje ukuthi vulana amasonto kanjani njanyana. It's because elections are around the corner. So I would think Ramaphosa, I respect him a lot, but he's a politician, guys. Let's not forget that. So he's bound to say anything so that you can clap hands for him because he is a politician. South African shops are empty right now. I don't know what ama exports are dedelwayo ayapi. Asinawo thina la. Asinawo mina am a regular customer ngoba ngiyakholwa ezwini likaThixo eBhayibhelini mangabe kuthiwa ningabophuza amanzi nje kuphela kodwa phuzani newayini. 1 Timothy chapter 5 verse 23 usho njalo umpostoli Paul. Amen bazalwane. Kodwa ke sihlobo zami mina nje into engikhala ngayo ukuthi kwayihaba lapha yama ngabe kuthiwa utshwala bumiswe nje. Mina le nto le ayikaze nje ngiphathe kahle. I felt that it was exaggerated. Perhaps it was supposed to be tackled in a different way.
I think when you thought of your own discipline, awusazi kahle thina.
Uthe angisakhumbula ukuthi wena Sibusiso noma wena mfowethu Nduduzo othe na utshwala nesikole kuyahambisana ukuthi mangabe isikole sakho izinga lingaphansana. Hey, mina ngivumi leyo nto le, mina ngafunda aze afika kwi-masters eSouth Africa. Utshwala ngabubona e-university mina. Yazi abantu babephuza umuntu akhohle igama lakhe.
How you behave and where you drink. Where and how you behave. Thina sineyinkinga thina serious when it comes to utshwala.
Ukhona umfowethu uMashimane lapho wayenza i-PhD e-University of Pretoria wase-Maritzburg. Waphuza ngolunye usuku waze wakhohlwa ngisho imoto yakhe wahamba wabiza i-Uber ukuthi azokwazi ukugoduka ekhaya esekhohlwa imoto kodwa wabona ekuseni ubona isikhiye imoto akayiboni akazi ufika kanjani ekhaya. Okay, angithandi ukushintsha ama-topic kuhle nje ukuthi sixoxe a few times here.
Get on an Uber.
Yeah, so my point is I agree a lot with the people who say South Africa should be judged on its own independently, but my major point remains indaba yokuthi siyafundisana, siyabona kwabanye abantu ukuthi bakwenza kanjani, how are they managing certain things and how are they doing it. Ngingene kule ndaba yemikhukhu, so many people have been commenting ukuthi thina sinemikhukhu. I know we don't have imikhukhu eZimbabwe, ukho nje enhlobo, sinawo nowodwa umkhukhu the whole country. But I don't understand ukuthi imkhukhu notshwala kuhlanganaphi kanye bakuxhumanisa kanjani lokho kokubili ukuthi imikhukhu notshwala kanjani. Because i-social distancing, does it mean ukuthi makubhanwa utshwala nemkhukhu iyabhanwa yini? Ngoba i-social distancing vele izoba a compromise emkhukhwini ngoba abantu bahlala bebaningi. Angisezwa manje.
Sorry, I was muted. Okay. Are you sure ukuthi ayikho imkhukhu eZimbabwe?
Where ayikho?
But that is for another day.
Oh, ayikho imkhukhu eZimbabwe. We have none. Akekho umuntu ohlala emkhukhwini.
I mean, I have seen them, but that's a topic for another day.
Oh yeah, check, look them up on Google. You will see ukuthi kwenziwa something called Operation muramba twina hlalani kahle. It's illegal. Mabeke bakubona wakho umkhukhu nje eZimbabwe bakubopha izandla neenyawo. It's unacceptable. Go to the village because we took the land away kwamabhunu on amaplaza. So you simply go to the village and build there. It's cheaper and easier than ukuthi ungcolise edolobheni. I'm sorry ukuthi amaZimbabweans ayeza lapha eMzansi bezokwakha imkhukhu. Nibobabuza ukuthi nisuka le nizoganga la. Yebo ngoba kithi awuvumelekile. So nibobatshela nje ukuthi nisuka le nizoganga la. Ayikho leyo nto leyo kithi. Yeah, so I don't understand the connection. Ngicela ukuthi unikeze usibusiso ithuba ngoba ngicabanga ukuthi yena.
So I think where the two sort of potentially meet is and guys, I'm speaking under correction here. So most of the time if ubheka abantu aba right empilweni, right? Meaning you've got their humongous houses and all the other things, right? Or like izindlu ezisharp. Baba, they've got options when it comes to entertainment. So where else, if you look at those who are not well off, because of they don't have much options in terms of like what entertain. That is why majority, you'll see this majority is two. It's alcohol and it's sex, right? Those are the two major. Yeah. Those are the two major activities / entertainment that they will partake on. So umuntu akafuna ukuhlala emkhukhwini wakhe because like kugcwele ngapha bayapheka ngapha bayageza ngapha bayenzani nabantwana bangumsindo and everything. So they will prefer ukuthi okay, let me go out ngiyohlala kuphi and then bese I get my drink 1 or 2 and then nase seng right or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 angikwazi abantu baphuza kangakanani. Then nase seka right he comes back home. Because there's not much other activities. Yes, manje there's some DSTV loaded ezindaweni, but nakafika lapho then the other activities azoyenza it's the activity number 2 in order ukuthi alale nakusasa. So that's where I sort of like link the two. While if you look at somebody else or sharp one enough land, una yonke into, une Wi-Fi kwakhe, une swimming pool, unama Xbox and all these other things. Bona, they've got options. Consuming alcohol it's not really a majority, or it's not the only option umuntu abanayo. They can choose with, no, today I'm just gonna gym, ngizodlala tennis in my tennis court, I'm gonna do this and that, ngizoswima. Yes, and then our consumer alcohol is just a glass. That is why I was okay, fine. We're having dinner, then a glass of wine, then just like exactly like what you are doing. Look at this. So options. So my point, and Uncle, especially in Mikuku and alcohol, it was basically coming from that's where it was actually coming. That's where my thinking was at. Ngaleso's card. So that's okay. Most of the time, due to lack of options, due to lack of other things to do, we'll opt for what? Ngizozama 20 rand. I don't know ukuthi malini le 750 or ngizozama 50 rand, and then I'll go sit with abangani bami uNduduzo no Thenjiwe nabo banama 50 rand wabo, then siyahlanganisa, then siyaphuza ilanga, we pass time, ilanga liyashona. Then naselishona ilanga, I go home, nangifika ngithola umama nabantwana kunomsindo and everything ekhaya endlini, but mina I'm already sengidakiwe, then I go and sleep. So that's why I'm yes, Duduzo wanna say something.
And then si share namaluzi ethu. Phela mase sifuna nokubhema. I don't know how we are going to handle that. Duduzo, yebo, yes.
No, bengifuna ukuvuma kule nto esho Sibusiso manje ukuthi indlela esiphuza ngayo, especially uma kungenayo imali, siyahlanganisa, sihlale siphuze. And mangabe sizohlala siphuze, ibhodlela lazodlula koyedwa liye komunye lidlule liye komunye. Iphele ikhoti sithenge enye, omunye uzothenga enye nomunye athenge enye. Iyona indlela esizokwazi ukuthi siphuze ngayo sonke imali. That's one. And then that is part of the reason why ama-tavern evaliwe kuthiwa asiphuzeleni emakhaya. And it becomes very important because it's one method of making sure that we curve the graph to make it go down instead of going up. So ama decisions eswathathayo South Africa have to be looked at in terms of how valid are they within our context. And ukuzama ngabethi we have to learn komakhelwane. Yes, mangabe kamakhelwane kupendwa thina sesufakile upende ebondeni so pende roof because siyabona ukuthi sikhona isidingo sokupenda. But it doesn't mean ukuthi mabependa ubonda noma sesilipendile ubonda lethu fanele sipende ubonda nathi. We learn to do things from what has worked for them. We begin to apply what works for us. And that is why I'm saying our own context should be what guides us. And the other thing, mangabe ngithi, sorry?
I was gonna say also we must remember what we are dealing with different mental patients in terms of freedom and democracy and all that's gibberish. We are quite young and we are quite new and things were not handled the same. You guys have the land. Now we still suffer from the issue of land. A lot of us have not healed. A lot of us are still living with people who were part of the struggle, who have not benefited from the freedom that we were promised. So we are dealing with different issues, and different issues contribute to the way we behave as a society. So it's very difficult we can learn from other people because our issues are not the same. That's why even education system is not the same. That's why people from other African countries are able to come to South Africa and find opportunities that we as South Africans do not see as opportunities. So we still have a lot of healing to do. We still have a lot of growing to do. It will be very hard and unfair on us as South Africans to start jumping and getting into where the other countries are. In terms of just thinking, we are mental patients of the apartheid system, unfortunately, and still we have not benefited because even the economy it's not gonna help us. It's economy even these farms esikhuluma ngabo, people are still gonna get imali just enough to buy impuphu and even sausage abalithenga. They can't even buy proper boerewors with the money that they work so hard for. So even the economy doesn't favor us. That's why sometimes we don't understand it from the point of view of economy, because the economy is not in our hands. Guys, China baku day 110. So be prepared with Nasi Sofia day 110. Day 110.
No, and another thing I made reference to education and drinking because the two are linked. Not necessarily to say that abantu abaphuza utshwala ngobana bengayanga esikoleni, no. But the level of education that one has influences the drinking habits. And that is also going to have an impact on the behavior of a person after consuming alcohol. Most people who have a certain level of education, which is much higher, that is in the developed countries compared to the still developing countries, would not be having a similar alcohol intake. Their pattern will be different. And then Ukuzai makes an example of a PhD student, if I'm correct, or from Pietermaritzburg, who was studying in Pretoria. That is an isolated case. And then for the person to have that as a general behavior, chances are it's not an everyday thing. But the reality is, in South Africa, we have people who have that as the normal everyday life. And that is a reality that is known. And you can't compare one who is still able to take an Uber and get home. That already shows you that they are on another level. But we have to look at the reality of where we are. And by reality, we mean looking at the larger population of South Africa, which is people who do not have proper backgrounds to actually have a disciplined drinking formula. And that is why there is a whole hullabaloo over the fact that alcohol is going to be sold, because people are looking at the level of discipline that we have as South Africans, that it's not going to be working in our favor.
Yeah, ne. Kudzai, sesizoyirapha manje. So last comments. Ngizoqala ngawe Kudzai, please. I'm not being xenophobic. Ungaqosha kuqala.
Hayi ngiyakuzwa ya. Ngicela ukuthi oqala I just want to thank you Sis Thenjiwe for having opened this platform. Kumnandi ukuthi sixoxe sifundisane sihleka kunje abanye abantu have had to learn certain things even about Zimbabwe, things that they didn't know.
Yes.
Things about Canada. Yeah, I mean things about Canada, something they didn't know. Canada, the second largest country in the world. So after Russia. Because of the vastness of the land in Canada, I think distribution of the population also matters. I learned a lot from you guys. It was quite insightful. Ngiyabonga kakhulu ukuthi sifundisane kungaliwa futhi kungabi emotional kube into nje sidlela ingevu nje kanjena nje. Kodwa mina I still believe ukuthi you will never do anything to the social aspect of us as Africans. Sister Thenjiwe, you mentioned things about liberation of South Africa and so forth. I mean, it's something which we almost share the same history as Zimbabwe, you know. Zimbabwe and South Africa, those two countries, they didn't want with them. But the difference between Zimbabwe and South Africa, Robben Island. But it was war in Zimbabwe since 1965 up to 1980. So we are the only country in Africa which lost a lot of blood just for independence. There is no country that is near Zimbabwe in terms of the blood loss just for independence, and that affects also our behavior. Even in lessons ngayo thina ukwesaba lokhana ukuthi why abantu badelelwe umgabe a 95-year-old and they can't do anything. We have a very painful history. We have what is called the Heroes Acre. We have war veterans. We lost over 60,000 people just for independence. So even in case here South Africa is a lot better. Apartheid was not as painful as what we saw. So I enjoy these kind of platforms because we share, we learn from each other, and we hear other people's views. Singekho frustrated sifundisana. Ngiyabonga kakhulu. Thank you so much, and thank you guys for your contributions. I do appreciate. Nalaba tebebhala kuma comment ke a leboga thata ke ithutile khutswa mo go lena ka bona dipuo tsa lena ka wa itse ke rata ka mokgwa le dirang dilo tsa lena ka teng.
Hey!
Jaanong ke bona Thenjiwe o bula matlo o ka re go mmakatsa gore le nna ke itse go bua Sepitori ke nna ke bula Pitori.
Amen. Uma ungithi
akezwe sefuna ukuthi uyamjoka.
Nyaya ga ke go thugi aus.
Uthandaza ngithi amen. You're gonna make me wanna learn more South African. Now I am jealous.
Hayi ngeke ngaqonywa olundi ngacisha aba umkhwenya wasolundi olumahlikihlikana lapha ngasenhlazatshe. And I love traveling, guys. I visited all corners of South Africa. And I love learning languages. I taught myself languages while I was in South Africa. I speak 19 languages. Saying kosha ke manje. Kodwa guys asikuyeke lokho sokhuluma ngolunye usuku.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being part of our conversation, guys. We are learning from each other. Sihlale sifunda, sifundisana. Akekho all right, akekho all wrong, but we are family here. We share our opinions without being offensive to each other. We are just a family. This is our round table. This is where we come and voice our opinions, and we learn from each other every time.
He's been putting good comments a lot.
Don't leave before the party is over.
Okay.
First, I think siyabonga ukuthi uqabanga ukcreate such a platform, and it's actually nice. You are in England, uputi use, you know, like kumnandi, we're just connecting. But last comment from my side, I think as a South African country, we are ready for the first when it comes to alcohol in terms of Titeng. I think kuzoba quite interesting to see what will happen after week number 1. How do we behave, and then best is Marakudzai inking as every time I talk about alcohol. So So yeah, no, it's a great platform, and thanks for the information. Quite insight. I understand what I know, but I feel we are ready. Let's do it with with obviously it comes with responsibilities, and then if we fail to abide to our regulations, well, then we need the actions must be taken.
Yeah, siyabonga kakhulu, guys. I hope we are all learning. Let us be responsible and let us hold each other accountable, so that if kukhona ombonayo or misbehavior before they cause an accident or they cause harm to themselves or those close to them, as report emaphoyiseni. If uzwa kukhona umsindo osudaleka kamakhelwane, be a responsible citizen, ubize amaphoyisa. If umuntu umbone ukuthi ngathi usedakiwe, musize na ukuthi mhlawumbe behave right noma umphucu utshwala angazi nje, but we just have to work as a team, we have to work as a family ukuze lento ngempela si-avoid ukuthi iqhubeke. Mina I'm just hoping ukuthi abantu bakithi, especially abantu bakithi abamnyama, ngicela mekuvulwa mhla ka-1 singadushani, sihambe nje kahle siyothenga utshwala kahle, sibuye singayenzi lento yokuthi bese kube ngazi ukuthi u-Black Friday, because the whole world will make fun of us. Engahlizilwane sidushanela utshwala engathi we do not have other priorities, and everyone uzobe esecabanga indaba zokuthi afihle izinto ezenzeka ekhantrini yakhe, and just use us as an example. Ama-South Africans are ignorant, ama-South Africans are alcoholics, ama-South Africans this and that. So let us behave ourselves. Sambe kahle nje njengoba siyesitole ngathi aqaze vala utshwala, buy whatever you need. Buzoba khona nangakusasa. And also let us be careful not to get carried away and end up buying utshwala obama fake, or end up buying utshwala as if more important than ukudla ngoba sisaba ukuthi what if bevala food, so you end up with a lot of alcohol but no food endlini. So let us just be responsible, and I hope abadayisayo futhi will not take advantage yabantu and start selling ngama price angasile. Nduduzo, you are muted. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity, because I never really knew that you were going live. It just happened that I passed by your page. Luckily, I found something interesting. Thank you very much. And it's very interesting that there's young people like us who are able to sit and have decent conversation without involving emotions, without having ridiculous ideas of how to move. We are all willing to learn from each other and begin to develop better ideas to improve ourselves as individuals first, and then most importantly, how to have a general impact within the societies where we are. It might be in England, it might be in Canada, it might be in South Africa where we are. But we have to have that kind of mentality where we begin to say that we need to sit down and tackle issues and deal with them and learn from each other. And that is the most important thing. And just as a request to you, and probably Kudzai also, would be if you would allow us to deal with the land reformation issue at some point, just to discuss that, because I think that in as much as we are from different countries and we have different perspectives, we also have to learn from each other. And our histories are not totally different, and we have to learn what works from the other and what doesn't work from the other. And that is, again, something that South Africa has managed to learn and take as a treasure or as a gift. We are the last country to be freed from oppression. And that allowed us to have the world's best constitution, because we learned what worked where and what didn't work where. And I think that is the same principle that has been applied in the fighting of COVID-19, that let us look at what has worked elsewhere and what has not worked elsewhere and formulate our own pattern. And that is what is necessary. But then again, for us to get it right in terms of the land redistribution, which is a burning issue in South Africa, I think we need to come face to face with what happened in Zimbabwe, where President Mugabe went wrong and where he went right. Because in as much as it turned out to be a complete failure of a system or a regime of President Robert Mugabe, let us not forget that at a certain point in history, he was able to make Zimbabwe the breadbasket of Africa. And that is something that he needs to be honored for. And that is something that we as South Africans have to learn and say that if it worked, we can also make it work for us. And in terms of land redistribution, where Zimbabwe messed up, where can we correct and make sure that we have a better system? Because it's pointless to say that that worked, that didn't work, and just point a finger and not have an application of a reality within our own context. So I really still want to extend gratitude to everyone. And really, I'm glad that I bumped into the page and I happen to be part of the conversation. Thank you very much to each and everyone. Unfortunately, I do not speak Shona. And I'll stand you. Ngiyakuthembisa akakuthukanga ngimzwile. Ekhaya kusema respect but ngihlala ePretoria, so I have learned Setswana. I promise you akakuthukanga.
Awu ngiyabonga. Bese ngithi nje mina naye. Phela ngingafika mina eCanada. Guys, thank you so much. Okay, I started this live series during lockdown when we were on level 5. I used to do 2 a day at 7 p.m. and at 4. But then now I understand I haven't done 4 p.m. for a while. But today I thought this was such an interesting topic to talk about. I would like you guys to tell me, because I know most people have gone back to work, so not everyone is free at 4 p.m. 4 p.m. being South African time, 4 p.m. What time will work better? Should we do them late? We do them, say 11 or whatever time, late at night, or does 4 p.m. work? Because there are so many things that we need to have conversations about. And number 2, please don't forget to come back at 7. We have Dr. Mnguni, those who are familiar with the channel and live series, Inyanga Yala Ekhaya. So he's coming to talk to us about love potions, how they work, how do you help someone if you can see what's and how to help yourselves and how to give someone love potion. Any question you have about the love potion, does it even really work? So he's coming now at 7 in about, I think, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. And it's going to be very interesting. Please, everyone, come back and join us. It's going to be very, very super interesting. Uti Undurengo, 8 p.m. is okay. 8 p.m. becomes a problem. Maybe 9, because already we have we have at 10. Anytime from after 9, because 8 p.m. people are watching TV, putting children to bed. Maybe 9 or 11. I don't know if 11 is too late. So we need to think. What do you guys think? Let me ask you guys. What do you think? What time works best?
Mina, I am 9 hours behind South African time, so it's very difficult. I would be available on Mondays because on Mondays I try to work from home. So kunjenje ngisebenzela endlini, kodwa kusasa I would be at work until Friday, like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I go to work, and being 9 hours behind, it's virtually impossible to be available.
So you will join us when you can. You will join.
Sengojoin ama weekend
whenever
kumbe
you
ngena
can.
ngokulangazelela.
And
I would say that 4 would work for me.
and uthini?
4 o'clock would work for me. 4 iwona uzoba right, because that's the time I'm free. Like manje, I have to ukuthi ngihambe ngemsebenzini, but ngisebenzele ekhaya, but fanele ngihambe ngemsebenzini. And unfortunately ngeke ngikwazi ukuthi ngithi I'll do work and I'll do this also, because I'd really love to participate. I would really vouch for 4 o'clock, because 4 to 6 or 4 to half 6 I can still manage to put myself, but from 7 I'm not available. Maybe when it gets to around 9, 10, then I can consider that, but I think 4 would work better. And weekends.
It looks like it's 4 p.m. or 9 p.m. 7 p.m. Phumzile Zama, we already have shows at 7 p.m. I usually have a guest at 7 p.m. That come every day. So we are looking for Emma Lokuzana for such shows where we are talking and discussing and having conversations about Izinto. Yeah, we will come with a solution. Guys, thank you so much for your contribution. May we continue to try and heal each other and try and work together to see it forward. Thank you so much. Let us pray for the best of i-country. Maybe nje nomama uzofika vele athi akukho waiting for level 1. Maybe people will behave themselves. let us just pray that we will be able to behave ourselves and not be too overexcited, because, hey, did you see how people are behaving? They're sober. They're sober.
Utheni kanti ungathengi flexa, ungathengi inansi isifonyo mfundini? Andinamali awuthenga fonyo madoda. Hayi ngeke. Uyasihlaza flexa.